But Jewish education was the most important thing for my father. And they gave every dollar they had, every ruble, to be able to allow me to get the Jewish education, to learn the values, to learn the spirit of our traditions. My father, by trade, built furnaces, not as we know them today, then was with clay and brick. And there was a specific winter I remember as a child when I was about 6 years old, that there was a shortage of cement, there was a shortage of brick, and therefore my father was not able to make the livelihood that he was able to usually make. 1 month went by, and the cheder, the malamed, the tutor, the teacher was not paid. 2 months went by, 3 months went by, and finally I was told to bring home a note to my father and mother. When I got home, my father opened the envelope, took out the letter, and started crying. The malamed, the teacher, said that you're 3 months overdue on the tuition, and until you pay, I no longer can come to school. My place will be filled by someone who is paying the full dues. Education. It meant everything to my parents. And they weren't able to give that to their child. It wasn't his fault. It was a terrible winter, and there was a shortage that didn't allow him to make the money, but he was at a loss. What should he do? He goes to evening services that night. He gets to mincha, and he's davening, and there's a schmoozing going on in the back of the shul. There's conversation going back, as most congregations happen in the back of the shul. And I hear it going on that the wealthy individual in town just built a new home for his daughter and son-in-law. But they can't move in yet because of the shortage of brick. There's no furnace. And he puts the word out to the congregation, if anyone builds a furnace for my daughter and son-in-law's new home, I will give them 6 ruble, which at that time was a tremendous amount of money. My father heard that. He comes running home, has a brief conversation with my mother, takes an axe, and slowly starts taking apart the furnace in our home, brick by brick by brick. When the entire furnace has been taken apart, the entire stove no longer exists, he transports it the next day to this gentleman's home, builds a furnace for his daughter and son-in-law, takes the 6 ruble, brings it home and gives it to me and says, Yaakov David, give these 6 ruble to your teacher. It's for the balance of the last 3 months and for the next 3 months that you should be secure in your place in school. My parents did everything for me for Jewish education. They sacrificed it all that I should be who I am today. And on the day of my father's yahrzeit, because it's a little cold outside, I should miss saying Kaddish. I remembered that winter 60, 70 years ago when we slept with 3 blankets and 2 pairs of pajamas and many robes on top of it, because my parents sacrificed everything for their children. Sacrificed everything to ensure that their children will have the education that they wanted. So because of a little cold, I won't say Kaddish. And I think the story is powerful today on so many levels. As parents, we want the best for our children. As Jewish parents, we want to give this, not only the spark, but the flame of Judaism to our children, to our grandchildren, to our friends' children, to anybody that we can, to ensure the next generation of Jewish continuity, of Jewish leadership, of all those that will make a difference in this world. Each one of us have the ability to influence our children, and by giving over what we have, and we don't thank God have to sacrifice our furnace, the conveniences and the comfort level that we have today, the blessings that we are blessed with today are so much greater than when Rabbi Yaakov David's parents had to sacrifice 100 years ago. But we give it all away for our children. These are not just words, these are things that we believe in, these are things that Chabad of Mid-Suffolk is committed to every single day. To stay up late at night, to have the newest curriculum, the best programs, to ensure that the next generation, our children, our grandchildren, will have everything that they would need for their Jewish needs. These words are things that people live by, and we would like to highlight 5 of them tonight. Joel and Lisa Blitzer, Paul and Bonnie Liebman, Dr. Roth, who have, over the last close to a decade, the Blitzer's the last 2 years, over the last decade, or ever since they've met Chabad, have given it their all to ensure the above-mentioned things that we have discussed. There are too many things to talk about, so I'll allow their own words to describe their beliefs and their faiths and their commitment to the ideas we just discussed. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy the video.
Please join me in welcoming Joel and Lisa Blitzer.
Hello, thank you for coming. I did ask my friend Steve Neuwirth to write a speech for me, but when he brought me the speech and it wouldn't fit in the back of Mitch's pickup truck that I had, I knew it was too long. So I just want to let this date, June 7th, does hold some significance for us. Today is my son's 16th birthday. And in this very synagogue 14 years ago, Lisa's sister Julie and my brother-in-law David got married. I want to thank Lisa for letting me get involved when I promised I wouldn't. Thanks to our family and friends who have traveled from faraway places like Brooklyn and Florida to join us tonight. We're delighted to be blessed with a close family and fantastic friends. And if anyone knows if there is a Chabad in Brooklyn, please let my sister know.
That's not
Thanks to Brooke and Rabbi Mendel, especially Brooke, for forcing Mendel to move to Comac when the Chabad offers so many other exotic opportunities. Okay. Thanks to Ken Laffer for the falafel and Kool-Aid lunch that led to all this. Who knew it would lead us to become such good friends with a guy who wears a black hat? Trips to Crown Heights, the Oval, the Kiddes. But lucky for me, every time we got there, the hat shop was closed. It's been like opening up a mailbox and having just a ton of information fall out. And Evan, who promised that he was done with all this after his bar mitzvah, has enjoyed several JL teen classes taught by Teldon, and he rarely says no to Chabad events. And Dara, most kids go to Hebrew school when they have to, when they're forced. Dara and her friends go 2 hours before every class to help out, because she just loves to go. And a big thank you to Maura Gilly and Maura Connie for making that happen. And like a little-known TV host, Oprah Winfrey once said, there's a little Hasidic in all of us.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Paul and Bonnie Liebman.
I just want to thank everybody for joining us tonight, and again, I honor everybody out there. No speech. I think the video says it all from Bonnie and I. I just want to thank everybody, Brucha and Mendy. Thank you for welcoming us to your family, and Blitzer's welcome to our family, and Mazel Tov to you, and Dr. Roth, and all good things. Thank you. I signed the pictures after.
gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Dr. Roth.
Just so everybody knows, I'm not always by myself at shul. This is Debbie Morrell. She's my girlfriend and my life partner. Rachel's here also. She's a little bashful. She didn't come up. I promise, this is really going to be quick, but I can't help myself. Jewish people here, right? You know Kol Nidre? Kol Nidre? It's a holiday that God decided was to take place during the playoffs. And I had a problem. It was the pennant race, and it was Kol Nidre, and I had to talk to the rabbi, like, well, what do I do? Yankees are playing Boston. It's the seventh game. Call him up. Rabbi, what do I do about this? And he strokes his beard, and he pulls his mustache. He says, I got it. You have a DVR? Brilliant. I could DVR the Kol Nidre? I got one more. I'm having a good time, sorry. Shlomo decides he's going to convert. He's going to become Christian. I'm honored to have all my friends tonight. It's wonderful. My feet aren't touching the ground. They came, they surprised me. I didn't know anybody was coming. But they're not all Jewish, but they're all right. So anyway. So Shlomo decides, Jewish is boring. I really want to be Christian. I want to be Catholic. And I think I'm going to become a priest. So he becomes a priest, and he's really good at being a priest. And it's his first Mass, and he gives Mass. And then he does a sermon. And during the sermon, there's all the big shots are there, including one of the cardinals. And after the sermon, the cardinal comes up and says, look, Shlomo, that was really, really good. We really liked that whole sermon thing. But, we wish in the future you wouldn't start the sermon off by saying, fellow Goyim. Anyway, one last thing. This is it. I got to read this a little bit. It's just stuck in my pocket. Okay. This one I couldn't memorize. And this was partly an email sent to me by Debbie, but it was very inspiring to me. What would God ask about you in your life if you ever could talk to him? Do you think he'd ask what kind of car you drove? He'd ask how many people that you provided transportation for. Do you think he would ask you the square footage of your house? He'd ask how many people you welcomed into your home. Would he ask you how much clothes you had in your closet? He'd ask how many people you helped to clothe. Would he ask how high your salary was? He'd ask if you compromised your character to obtain it. Would he ask what your job title was? He'd ask if you performed your job to the best of your ability. Would he ask how many friends you had? No. He would ask how many people to whom you were a friend. Would he ask what neighborhood you lived in? No. He would ask, how did you treat your neighbors? And that was sent to me by Debbie, and I had to bring her up here to give her the credit. Thank you. Wow. This is not the first one I've received from them, so I have to get busy. Is this the good one that doesn't? Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's make a round of applause.